everyone, this is your unemployed chef. Today's video will be my very first dessert video on this channel, and I'm excited to share it with you guys. We'll be making some delicious vanilla ice cream today, homemade ice cream. And before we actually get started with the making of the ice cream, I need to make some very important points first. First and foremost, ice cream making works best if you have all of your ingredients, with the exception of the condensed milk. Make sure that all of your ingredients and tools are ice cold. So if you have a large, preferably metal bowl, let it sit in the freezer for about 20 minutes, or if you have time, overnight, as well as a baking dish where the ice cream was set in the freezer. As you can see, it has ice and frost forming on it. Make sure to do that. Also, yes, you could try to make a healthy dessert. However, that's an oxymoron. I believe that there's no such thing as a healthy dessert. Dessert is dessert. Keep my vegetables out of it, with the exception of fruit. It's just that when it comes to ice cream especially, it's very important to have full fat items, such as using heavy whipping cream. Instead of 2% milk, use full fat whole milk. And also to make sure to use just regular sugar. Don't use, coconut palm sugar or whatever kind of new fat sugars that are out there. Brown sugar would probably be fine, but if you have white sugar, use it. White sugar does a very good job of handling or retaining moisture in recipes, whereas brown sugar doesn't do such as a good job because of its chemical composition. So the sugar that I'm using for today's recipe is actually brown turbinado sugar. Even though it has brown in the name and it's brown in color, it's not the same chemically as just regular brown sugar. Actual brown sugar has something called molasses in it and has a very distinct flavor, and the composition is completely different. So make sure you have actual brown sugar and just not raw cane sugar. I'm using this because I'm trying to not use a lot of refined or processed ingredients in my cooking and baking. I'm trying to make a good substitution wherever I can, as long as it doesn't affect the flavor and taste and texture of my foods. If it does one of those things, then I wouldn't use it. It's just that I'm using these ingredients because if your ice cream does not have a high fat content, and especially has a low sugar content, if you're trying to skip out on the sugar, if you put it in the freezer, it will get rock solid, and it would not be creamy. It will actually be grainy. So remember, it's okay to be unhealthy, at least when it comes to desserts. So enough of my talking. So let's get started. So we're actually going to get started with heating up 2 cups of whole milk. And we're going to start off making our own condensed milk. Condensed milk is a milk that has been reduced or just have had most of its moisture taken out through heating, and because of that, it's very thick and it's very sweet. So we're providing the ice cream a form of liquid sugar. My ice cream recipe is eggless, and what I'm doing is I'm heating up my milk to a low heat. And it's just enough to warm it up, so when I put in my sugar, it would just dissolve nice and evenly. And something else I wanted to add in about the sugar, you want to make sure if you have a raw sugar, since the grains are a lot bigger than regular white refined sugar, you could just take the sugar and put it in a blender, and it will get it nice and fine. And that would be perfect for ice cream. Ice cream is just all about getting the right texture. So we're going to do 2/3 of a cup of sugar. So that is approximately 11 tablespoons. So I'm going to do 11 tablespoons. 1, 2, 10, 11. So that's 11 tablespoons of sugar. And now I'm going to blend it. And if your sugar settles on the bottom, just shake it up some and just blend it again. So my milk still needs some time to warm up, just a couple more minutes. So what I'm going to do, because I want to keep my equipment as cold as possible, I'm just going to throw everything back into the freezer until it's time for me to use it. And I'm also going to put my heavy whipping cream back in my fridge. My milk has warmed up some more, so that's perfect. And what you want to do is let your sugar dissolve in your milk, fully dissolve. And you can just take your spatula and just stir it around some. Now, for the condensed milk, you want to bring it to a simmer once all of the sugar is dissolved. That is very, very important. The other important thing is when you're making condensed milk, it's not one of those recipes where you could just set and forget. You have to stand over the stove and watch it very, very closely. Remember, baking is unforgiving. So wait until that's fully dissolved, and we want to bring this to a gentle simmer and continuously stir until it's reduced and it has thickened. This won't be the same amount when it's finally reduced. It will actually be half of this amount. So don't worry if you start seeing less and less milk. So we're going to let the sugar dissolve for about a minute. And after that minute, we're going to bring it to a gentle simmer. And that will be, we'll be putting it on a medium low, which would be 4. I don't know why I turned it so early. I just can't wait for this ice cream. And now we wait. Okay, so my timer went off. And now I'm going to turn up my saucepan to a medium low, which is 4 on my stove. And what we're aiming for is gentle bubbles in the middle of the saucepan. So while I'm waiting for my condensed milk to get to a simmer, I must add that if you're looking for condensed milk in the store and you see something called evaporated milk, they are not the same. Evaporated milk is just milk that's just had most of its water evaporated out, and then it has been reduced, I should say. Condensed milk is a type of evaporated milk, but it has a lot of added sugar put into it, and it actually is a much thicker and caramelized version of evaporated milk. However, they are not the same. Okay, so my condensed milk is finally simmering. As you can see, there's some gentle bubbling action. You don't want a rolling boil. You want something very gentle, very G-rated, nothing rated R or rated A. And what I had to do actually was I turned up my heat to a 5. On 4, it didn't seem like it was simmering, so I just turned it up 1 notch. I may or may not have to turn it down. So I'm going to set my timer to 30 minutes. And throughout these 30 minutes, take extra care to continuously stir and stir and stir. If you see any kind of foam developing on the top, just skim it off with a spoon like this. And make sure you have an extra bowl nearby so you could just dump the scum in there. Besides that, you just want to keep stirring. And we want to keep reducing this condensed milk until it gets to a consistency of a sauce. You could think of it as a sugary milk sauce. If you cook it any further, however, it will turn much darker and you're going to be actually making a caramel. So if you want a caramel, that's fine with you, but since we're making ice cream, you went too far if you made a caramel. Now, I'm at the 18-minute and 35-second mark. This is what my condensed milk looks like now. And of course, I have been continuously stirring. And what you want to do is, if you see scum like this on the side of the pan or the pot, make sure to take the scum off the side so it doesn't fall back in. And we're trying to keep our condensed milk as clean as possible. I admit that I don't make the best condensed milk, but practice makes perfect. And we're going to give it another stir. Note how I am stirring so it doesn't splash the sides. And I'm going to try to get some of this extra gook out. I won't be able to get all of it out, but that will be my project for the next 18 minutes. And I'm also going to turn down my heat to 4, since it is simmering and I want to keep it as gentle as possible. Okay, since we're at the 13-minute and 30-second mark, I'm going to check for thickness. If it coats the back of my spoon, that is a good sign I'm at the right consistency. So it's not quite coating my spoon, but it certainly has gotten quite thick. So I'm just going to do another skim test and just cook it all the way through. And every so often, make sure that the spoon that you do the scum clean with is periodically cleaned. Giving you guys an update, we're currently at the 7-minute and 40-second mark, and my condensed milk has reduced by half. It's not quite at the thickness, so we may need to cook it for another 10 minutes or so, but I'm going to do a thickness check. And it's starting to coat the back of my spoon some more. And I can feel that the texture is changing. So if you ever overcooked pasta and it feels kind of gooey, that's the consistency that you're looking for when you're thickening up condensed milk. Don't forget to stir and don't forget to clean up that scum. So we're at the point now where if we keep continuing, that this will turn into caramel. So this is still quite liquidy. And as you can see, my spoon is getting coated quite nicely. So what I'm going to do is take it off the heat. So we're currently at 4 minutes and 4 seconds. And I'm just going to turn this off, keep stirring. Wait for this foam to settle, and I'm going to clean out the remaining scum. So condensed milk, what happens to it when it cools down is that it actually thickens up even more. And if you're starting to see a lot of bubbles like what was just on camera not too long ago, that means that a lot of the moisture has evaporated, and you don't want too much to evaporate because, again, you're making a caramel. You want a condensed milk. So this is what it looks like. So if your mixture does this, it divides and slowly comes back together. That's what you're looking for. And what I like to do, I don't think it's necessary, is I like to let my condensed milk rest for about 5 minutes. And in the meantime, any other additional scum that I see, I just clean it out of my pot. Okay, so the 5 minutes is up, and as you can see, this is my condensed milk, and since it cooled down, it's much thicker. So this is the consistency that you want. So I'm going to get all of my cold equipment out of my freezer. This is my very, very chilled bowl with my very, very chilled hand mixer attachments. I don't see why you would do this without a hand mixer. This will make things go by very, very quickly and much faster. And you don't want to leave your bowls out and come back and make your whipped heavy cream. You just want to do everything at once. So I'm going to measure out 2 cups of heavy whipping cream. Get every last drop. And now I'm going to start whipping it on a medium. Make sure you do it in a large bowl because this can get quite messy. And I'll guide you to what kind of texture that you want. You're looking for the texture of melted ice cream, thick shaving cream. And it doesn't really matter when you put the condensed milk in, but I would just put it in since it's still a little bit warm, and it might actually be easier if I put it in right now. So this is my heavy cream. Approximately 3 minutes after 3 minutes of whipping, you can tell how the texture has changed and it's like a melted ice cream, but we're not quite there yet. I noticed my bowl has warmed up, and since I want to keep things very, very cold, I'm sure that if the bowl warms up somewhat during this process, it wouldn't affect the ice cream too much. But because I want to keep it cold, I'm actually going to put this bowl into an ice bath and continue blending in the ice bath. So if you have a larger bowl to do so, perfect. If not, just keep whipping. Here's the ice bath that I made. So I'm just going to set my ice cream bowl in. Make sure you don't overfill it because it can spill out. Okay, so when your ice cream starts to form soft peaks like this, it has some hold but not a strong hold, then that's a very good sign that it's done. And if you take the sides of your spatula and move it around the ice cream like this in the bowl, and if it stays, that's a good sign that it's starting to really form. So I'm going to continue to whip for about another 2 minutes, or about 3 minutes at the most. And if you wish to make a chocolate ice cream, you could get your chocolate powder out now, mix just a little bit of water in it, put it into this mixture and just blend it until it's fully incorporated. Okay, and this texture is perfect. A little bit stiffer than a couple minutes before. Here's for the fun part. This is where we flavor our ice cream. And you are most certainly welcome. I won't judge. You can taste the ice cream. Since we use condensed milk and it's a very concentrated form of liquid sugar, I just think that it's just sweet enough as it is right now. And I'm just going to add one more capful. And now we are going to put the ice cream in its container so it can set. It actually can come out the ice bath right now. So I just took this container out of my freezer. And all you got to do is take your ice cream and just scoop it into this bowl. If you want to know what heaven looks like, and just smooth it around so it sets evenly. So it may not look like enough, but when you put it into the bowl, it's quite a bit of ice cream, especially for one person. Cover up the bowl with some aluminum foil or clear wrap. I'm going to use aluminum foil. I'll see you in 6 hours. Okay, so this is what your ice cream should look like after 6 hours, or if you left it in overnight like me. This is the texture that it should look like. And now I'm going to do a texture test. And it should scoop fairly easily. This is not the perfect scoop. I'm going to give it another shot. I'm not the best ice cream scooper. It is still quite cold, but this is what your ice cream should look like. Nice and creamy. It is not grainy. And if you want, you could let your ice cream sit out for a couple minutes, or you could warm up your spoon with some hot water. And there you go. That is homemade vanilla ice cream. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, complain, and share. As always, the recipe description will be in the description box below. This is your unemployed chef, and always chase that yum.